Right, so get this, we're diving into Beetlejuice, but forget the movie, right? We're going full strip nerd today. Straight to the source, the original screenplay, you shared it with us, and wow, it is wild.
Yeah, the screenplay really gives you a whole new perspective, a real behind-the-scenes look. I mean, you think you know Beetlejuice, but the script, it's packed with details you just wouldn't catch on screen.
Exactly. Like, for instance, the whole thing kicks off in, where is it? Winter River, Connecticut.
Mm.
You know, quaint, quirky, that whole vibe. We meet Adam and Barbara Maitland, who are totally in love, restoring this incredible Victorian house.
Mm.
And then, bam, they're dead.
And that's where the script gets really interesting, I think. The house, it's not just some backdrop, it's practically a character itself. The way it's described, a giant Victorian home that Adam has been restoring piece by piece. It screams like sanctuary, you know what I mean?
Totally, yeah. And that makes it even more tragic when the Deetsies waltz in and want to paint everything. Wait for it, Viridian.
Mm.
But hold on, before we get to those design disasters,
Okay.
we've got to talk about the handbook for the recently deceased. Did you ever imagine the afterlife being so, I don't know, bureaucratic?
Oh, man, it's pure comedy gold. This beat-up paperback, right? Crammed with rules and regulations and geographical and temporal perimeter. Like, who talks like that, dead or alive?
Right. It's like trying to dispute a parking ticket with a demon or something. But it really sets the stage for Adam and Barbara's whole afterlife struggle. They just want their house back, but the rules are insane.
And that's where Lydia Dietz comes in. This isn't just your typical goth teen cliche. She is essential to the story. Remember that line, live people ignore the strange and unusual.
Oh, it's practically her life motto, right?
Yeah.
While everyone else is oblivious, she's out there seeking out the weirdness.
Exactly. She's not scared of the Maitlands at all. She's fascinated. The script really plays with this idea of seeing versus being seen. Like how Lydia's perspective, it bridges the living and the dead in a way that no one else can.
And speaking of seeing and being seen, how do you even go about, like, finding a bioexorcist? Yellow Pages? Nope. Turns out Beetlejuice advertises.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
It's got a full-on newspaper ad, and then later, even a TV commercial. It is classic Beetlejuice. He's the afterlife's leading bioexorcist, offering, get this, free demon possessions with every haunting. The script really leans into that sleazy salesman vibe.
Oh, it's hilarious. Especially the little details they put in there, like snakes for the kids, chewing on the dog to seal the deal. I mean, you know right away this guy is trouble. But the Maitlands are desperate.
And that desperation, that need to regain some sort of control, it makes him vulnerable to Beetlejuice's brand of chaos. And the script does such a good job, setting up this ticking time bomb, even if Adam and Barbara don't realize it quite yet.
And speaking of trouble, can we just, like, talk about the Dietz's interior design choices for a sec? Or, trust I say, nightmares. Viridian. Seriously.
Oh, tell me about it, right? It's like, what are they trying to do? Suck every ounce of life and personality out of this poor house.
All right.
And Otho, this is a so-called decorator, he's like the walking, talking embodiment of 80s excess. And the script does not hold back.
No, not at all. Like, the way he just dismisses the Maitland's wedding clothes, calls them Ozzie and Harriet, tosses them aside like they're nothing. It's brutal.
It really is, yeah.
Almost physically painful to read.
It's more than just bad taste, though, don't you think?
Oh, yeah.
Like, the script uses those design clashes to kind of highlight this fundamental, incompatibility between the living and the dead, in this very specific case. The Dietzes are all about imposing their vision, their style, erasing anything that came before.
And meanwhile, you've got Adam and Barbara stuck trying to haunt with, like, bed sheets. Talk about a mismatch in tactics.
Oh, absolutely. Their whole haunting strategy it's almost adorable, right? It's
Well,
like they're working from some, beginner's guide to haunting from, the Dark Ages or something. And the Dietzes are totally oblivious, more concerned with whether the Schwimp hors d'oeuvres are arranged just so.
Which, speaking of, brings us to the dinner party from, well, if not hell, then at least purgatory catering.
Oh, man, that scene. Pure gold.
That's good.
The Maitlands are, trying so hard to be scary, but you can tell they're starting to realize maybe Beetlejuice isn't the best coworker.
And the guests, I mean, they are clueless. They think it's all, like, special effects, praising Adam for his realistic ghost makeup.
I know.
It's brilliant. The perfect mix of horror and, super awkward comedy.
It really is. And you start to see Adam and Barbara bonding with Lydia a bit, even with all the chaos. She's the only one who actually sees them for who they are. I think that gives them some hope, even if it's just a little.
It's true, yeah.
But that hope is, pretty short-lived.
Yeah.
Because while Adam and Barbara are trying to figure out if they can weaponize shrimp, Lydia's getting in way over her head with
So
Beetlejuice.
she sees him as a way out, right, a connection.
Totally. And the script really emphasizes that, I don't know, teenage angst, that feeling of being unseen and misunderstood by everyone. But what I find fascinating is it also shows how easily that vulnerability can be manipulated. Beetlejuice, he preys on that, offers this twisted kind of escape.
It's the classic Faustian bargain, but, with more stripes and a whole lot more hairspray.
Exactly. And meanwhile, the Maitlands are off getting a crash course in, well, afterlife bureaucracy, which I imagine is just as much fun as it sounds.
Not fun at all.
Right. They end up with Juno, their caseworker. Talk about a nightmare.
Oh my gosh, yes.
She is like the physical embodiment of every frustrating bureaucratic experience you've ever had, wrapped up in a power suit and sporting a seriously bad attitude.
And don't even get me started on those undead football players just hanging around her office.
Yay.
Like, what is their deal?
I don't know. Maybe the script is just reminding us that death doesn't automatically equal, like, enlightenment.
Right.
The afterlife, just like life, it's full of weirdness and red tape. And, well, people who are just as clueless as they were when they were alive.
So true.
But it's also a good reminder that rules, even in the afterlife, they're made to be broken. Or at least, bent a little.
So last we saw, Lydia's feeling completely on her own, ready to strike a deal with, the bioexorcist devil himself and the Maitlands, stuck in line at the, afterlife DMV.
It's like the script's holding up these two mirrors.
Oh, totally.
On one side, there's Lydia, desperate for any sort of connection, willing to risk it all for a little freedom. And then you've got Adam and Barbara realizing that even death can't help you escape rules and regulations.
And that sometimes those rules are enforced by, these guys in suits with clipboards who really, really like the word perimeter.
I know, right?
Seriously.
Juno with her power suits and, threats of further processing. She embodies every nightmare you've ever had about bureaucracy.
Absolutely.
It's hilarious, for sure. But it also makes you think a little, doesn't it?
Oh, for sure.
What happens when we get so caught up in these systems? When they're more about control than compassion?
Big questions, especially for the afterlife waiting room. But back in the world of the living, Lydia's about to do something that could have some, let's say, serious consequences. Summoning Beetlejuice is no joke.
Definitely not, no. It's a decision born out of desperation, that's for sure. But what always gets me in the script is, Lydia's also drawn to Beetlejuice's power. You know what I mean?
Oh, absolutely.
He represents this chaotic energy she's craving, this power to just blow everything up, disrupt the status quo.
And honestly, who hasn't been there?
Yeah.
Who hasn't just wanted to shake things up, especially when you're feeling trapped? But as we know, Beetlejuice's brand of, quote, help, it always comes at a price. And it's usually a pretty steep one.
Oh, absolutely. He's a master at, zeroing in on those vulnerabilities, twisting people's desires, using them for his own gain.
Exactly.
But in a way, it's Lydia's willingness to make that deal that forces everyone else's hand.
Yeah.
It makes them take a stand, decide what they're truly fighting for.
It's true. And then cue the epic showdown.
Right.
Beetlejuice goes full-on monster mash. The Maitlands finally embrace their inner ghosts. And poor Otho, well, let's just say he gets a makeover that not even he could have designed in his wildest dreams.
I love that whole climax. It's visually incredible.
Oh, totally.
But what I find so smart is how the script uses those over-the-top elements, all the crazy visuals, to actually emphasize a really important message. The power of, accepting yourself, all of it, even the weird, messy parts.
It's true. And for the Maitlands, that means embracing their ghostly side. Shrimp hors d'oeuvres and all.
Absorb.
And Lydia, well, she finally finds her people. Even if they are, a couple undead goofballs.
It's perfect. That ending with the kind of uneasy truce between the living and the dead, so Beetlejuice.
Oh, yeah.
But the script adds this, a layer of hope, this sense that, yeah, things are definitely unconventional, but they figured out a way to coexist, found a weird little harmony.
Totally.
Yeah.
And Beetlejuice. Well, let's just say some demons are destined for paperwork, stuck forever in the afterlife DMV, probably still trying to trade his number for a shortcut out of there.
Oh, I love it. The perfect ending, the ultimate irony. A character who thrives on chaos, trapped by endless bureaucracy.
It's perfect.
Yeah.
So what have we learned from our deep dive into the Beetlejuice screenplay? Well, death, taxes, and unfortunately, Viridian decor. Some things are just unavoidable.
Right.
But sometimes embracing the strange, the unusual, finding your people, even, I don't know, making a deal with a bioexorcist.
Hmm.
Maybe skip that last part. It's all part of finding your place
That's a good way to put it,
in
yeah.
this world or the next.
And who knows? Maybe we all need a little Beetlejuice in our lives. Just a little.
It's a sprinkle of chaos, right? Until next time, keep it spooky, everyone. And whatever you do, never trust a bioexorcist with a business card.